Hi, Sarah back with the crochet again. We did in the last video, we did our slip knot to join. So just a quick reminder, this is the easy way of doing it, remember? Like that. That one over, pull that and through. We also did our double crochet. So today we're going to move on to our treble. Now before we do that, we need our chain. So I hope you've been practicing doing that chain. I'm hoping you're going to be able to see me a little bit better with this background. It's a gorgeous fabric I got from my friend's shop. It's supposed to be for some doll skirts, but at the moment it looks quite nice, I thought. So I'm just going to start with a few chains. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We don't need many. 8, 9, 10, 30. I'll do 15. To be honest, it don't matter how many we're doing, we're just practicing. So we should have a relatively smooth chain. I'm just using a 4mm hook. Again, it's only for practice, it doesn't matter. You can use any hook you want, any yarn you want. This is just a double knit wool with a 4mm hook. Now, what we're going to do is a treble. Okay, these are UK settings. It is a double crochet in America. But if we think of it in UK terms, if we say it's a treble, it's 3 stitches. So it sort of makes sense to do that. So when we did those double crochets, to turn around before we went on to the next row, we did 1 chain that counted as a stitch. Well, this time it's a treble, so we have to do 3. So we've got 1, 2 and 3. Now that 3 chain counts as our first stitch. Okay, so that means we need to count down 4. So can we see it? So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. My chains are a little bit loose, but I want you to be able to see where you're going. So again, don't over worry about that. Now, instead of just going in the hole like we did with the double crochet, we're going to wrap the yarn around the hook first. You can hold it if you feel it's going to go somewhere. Then we put it in the hole. Remember, it was the 4th away from the hook. We then grab the yarn like we did before, exactly the same, and we pull it through. But this time, instead of 2, we have 3 loops on the hook. So we grab the yarn again, make sure it's not going to fall off, and pull through just 2. Leaves us with 2. Grab it again and pull through 2. That's a treble stitch. So we'll do it again. So we find the next hole. So you've got your next space. Let the wool go round. Hold it if you feel it's going to slip. Push into the hole, pull the yarn through that hole. We should have 3 stitches on the top there. We're going to pull through 2 and pull through 2. I suppose that's where you could argue it's called a double crochet, but as long as you know the difference, it doesn't really matter. Just watch out, depending where you're from, whether you're buying sort of patterns that, if you're in the UK, if you're buying American patterns and vice versa. And there are a few other options out there, but most of them are usually about the same. So next stitch along, yarn around the hook. Hold if you feel it's going to slip. Put it in, pull it through the 1. 1, 2, 3 on the top. Yarn grab, pull through 2. Yarn grab, pull through 2 again. I'm going to do a couple of those a little bit quicker. So I've gone in the hole, pull through 2, pull through 2. I do find, especially when I started, I'm inclined to say things in my head as I'm doing it. So it'd be yarn round hook, into hole, pull through 2, pull through 2. Again, I'll just speed up because you don't want to watch me doing this all day, and then I can explain for a second row. I'm just going into every single chain, making sure I wrap the yarn before I actually do it. Let me just pull my yarn wool up a little bit. There we go. So I hope you've been practicing on these chains and these double crochets. Most people actually say that a treble is easier than a double crochet. I think it's easier to see. I don't know whether it's an easier stitch. I don't think there's actually much difference. But when you come to the next row, you'll see what I mean. Quite often with your double crochet, especially if you're doing a square, as I mentioned before, you end up with a triangle, not a square, which is a little bit annoying. Right, let me just do 2 more. I'll just remind you again, yarn round hook, hold if required, into the space, through 2, and through 2. Right. That is a treble. So you can see you've got your little chain along the top, like we did with the double, but it's a longer stitch. It's a nice stitch, it's a quick stitch. We like things that grow fast. It's also the stitch that's going to take us to that famous granny square that we will be doing very, very soon. Right, so turning chain. Remember, it was a double crochet, so we only did one. Again, treble, it speaks for itself. I like to do my turning chain before I turn my work over. Some patterns will just take you next row and say 3 chain. You work out how you'd like to do it, but I find this is the easiest way. So I'm going to do my 3 chain before I actually turn. Then I'm going to turn my work. Now, as you can see, these two are in line with each other. So it's easier to see where your first stitch is, whereas on the double crochet you don't always see that. So you can see where your little holes are. You can see we need 2. You see the 1 and the 2. Again, as I've mentioned previously, sometimes you do go through just the front loop or just the back loop. But for your basic crochet, you need to make sure you do pick up both these. Otherwise, your crochet could be loose. So yarn round the hook, hold if you want. Into the hole, have a check. Make sure you've got those 2 loops there. Yeah, okay. Grab the yarn and pull it through. Grab it and pull it through 2 stitches. Grab it and pull it through 2 stitches. Got the yarn running in a box, it's catching a little bit. So I will try and angle it slightly different just to give you a different view. Yarn round, into the hole. Grab the yarn, pull it through. 1, 2, 3 on the top now. And we've got 1 and we've got 2. Yarn round, in, pull through. We have 3. Through 2. Through 2. The thing you'll have a tendency to forget is wrapping the yarn round, especially if you've been doing a lot of double crochet recently. And the same will happen if you do a lot of trebles and go back to doing double crochets, because then you'll want to wrap the yarn around the hook every time, whereas you don't need to if you're doing a double crochet. So remember, yarn round, in the space, pull through. We have 3. Pull through 2, pull through 2. Obviously, when you do pull it through and you have only got 2 on the top, you know you've missed your wrap. So it's only a second to undo it. It's not the end of the world. That's one of the beauties of crochet. It's only 1 stitch. There we go. Couple more to do. We're nearly there. That's 1. And now, actually, I'll stop there. Now, again, this is where with double crochet, that last stitch is so easy to miss because it's only 1 chain, whereas now it's 3 chain, so it's not so easy to miss. So you can see I've got to go in top of here, which is a stitch, but this one here, we don't want to forget it. So yarn round, it's in the top of a 3 chain. I sort of cheat a little bit personally. I don't over worry. So you've got 1, 2 and 3. That third one's a little bit hard to get into sometimes. I will actually go into the one just below because it does make my work a little bit tighter, but I'll behave. I'll go into the third one because they'll say in a pattern into the top of the 3 chain. So that is the 3 chain. So we're pulling it through. We've got 3, we've got 3. And look, I've got a bit of black fluff from somewhere. I've been working on doing some little dead pulls for a convention, so I've got black and red yarn everywhere. So we can see it's a lovely stitch. Again, look at the speed that's grown. If we'd done 2 rows of double crochets, there would not have been a lot there, would they? So we'll do 1 more time, 1, 2 and 3, because I like to do it before I turn, then I turn my work. Can you just see there what I've done? Can you see? Little tiny bit. My stitch has actually slipped. Not an issue. I don't worry about undoing. 1, 2, 3. Take it out. I've split the yarn. So I'm going to do that last stitch again, because there's nothing worse than seeing a little bit of split yarn in your work. So there we go. I'm sorted now. It's probably that bit of fluff I was trying to pull out, which is still there. Yeah, it's definitely black yarn. Right, so we've got 1, 2 and 3. Turn. Like you see, it is the first stitch. Yarn round, into the hole, pull it through. 1, 2. yarn round, into the hole. It's finding it easier to go in now as well. You find after you get past your first couple of rows, the crochet gets a little bit easier. So yarn pull up, so yarn round, into the space, making sure we get both. Pull through, we have 3, we pull through 2, we pull through 2, yarn round, in we go, we pull through 2, pull through 2. I'm going to go a little bit faster. We are nearly there. There's not really anything else to it. It's no more complicated than that. If I'm going a little bit too fast here, I apologise, but I'm sure if you really just watch that first bit, you won't need to worry about that. I'm sure you'll have picked it up quick enough by now. Right, we're nearly there. Nearly there. And remember, what we're watching for at that end is making sure we do get that last stitch. So there was 1. So again, look for it. It's there. So it'd be 1, 2 and 3 is its very top stitch. And we pull it through, make sure we've not split it. We pull through 2, we pull through 2. And there we go. We're going to keep doing that. This wool's ever so soft actually, it's a nice one. And we're going to keep doing that until you get a square. It will straighten out, it just needs a little pull sometimes. It's a nice and neat stitch to do. If you're planning on doing a first maybe project of a scarf, or you're wanting to make some gifts, I know I'm going to say the word Christmas, but people, if you are doing crafting presents, they do need to be started early. I'm a nightmare for it. Everything's last minute for me, but there we go. That's what I'm like. So it would make a fabulous scarf if you got a really nice quality yarn, or a variegated yarn, or a sparkly yarn, or something a little bit more special, and you just go for the width that you require for your scarf and just keep going with those trebles. If I am doing a scarf though, I do like to go all the way around it afterwards, picking up this edge with double crochets, just to make it nice and square. But perhaps we'll look at that later, because I am going to be dealing with some projects later. I'm going to be doing some dolly makes, of course. I'm going to be doing some geeky makes, but I just wanted to get out of the way maybe half a dozen basic stitches before I moved on to that. Our next one's going to be the granny square. Please like and share and comment and everything else you got to do on YouTube, but please also give me any ideas or suggestions, even to do with the filming side of it. I think this one's actually a little bit brighter, so I'm pleased to say that. I think I'm going to have to keep to this colour yarn because I think it's easier for you to see, but constructive criticism's always good, so if you've got it, but please be nice and hope to see you again. Bye.